You're still relatively new to real estate, right, Joe? But you created a lot of momentum almost immediately. What happened early on that made you realize that this career could work out for you?
I kind of did get lucky that, I passed on a Monday, got my license within like 2 days, and I went right into the rookie real estate agent class. And honestly, even during that class, I just was like, wow, I'm retaining this information. And then I did breakthrough the next week. And honestly, I felt ready after just 8, 9 days just to go out there and start doing open houses and getting on social media. I felt like this office really prepares people for success if they show up.
What was it in breakthrough that started to kind of make things feel like it made sense?
I really think it was, learning the database and getting people in there and having a system to contact people and just like reaching out to your social media and doing an announcement and honestly just having a way, like a cadence to actually contact your sphere, not just like randomly texting people and expecting everybody to want to do real estate the next day. It's a system to keep in touch with people you love and care for.
And so before you were in school, what were you doing before you got into real estate?
So I still have my own restaurant recruiting company. I've been doing that for 9 years. I've been a restaurant person my whole life. Basically, I was working for Tropical Smoothie Corporate. I lost that job. And one of the ex-franchisees who sold her stores, she called me into her office and was like, Joe, would you want to go in recruiting? And I took a leap of faith. Had a rough first year and a half. My second full year, I was the top producer for Patrice & Associates. I placed 45 people in a year. I decided in 2021 to go out on my own. I had a killer year in 2020, 21, 22, and 23. I lost one of my biggest clients. My business still does well, but not where it was. So basically, that's when I decided to go into real estate.
Well, so that's my next question.
Yeah.
There is what made you choose real estate? And when you did that choice, how serious were you when you first got started?
So Brendan Swanson and Michael Patello were my realtors in Vegas. They are my best friends. They are tremendous people. They run their whole entire business through being good people. Michael does a lot of the concierge type stuff, and Brendan's more like out there, getting the listings, doing a lot of the MLS stuff on the MLS. They are just tremendous people. So I talk to Michael every single day. If we don't talk, we'll send each other a message. Hey, we didn't talk today. I'll send him a voice message or something. And just talking about real estate all day, every day with him before I was in it, one day he's like, Joe, go get your license. He's like, even if it's for referrals and recruiting. So I said, okay. So I did it. And 22 days later, I had my license in my hand.
Holy buckets. So you completed your coursework in just 22 days, passed the exam on your first attempt, right?
Yes. Got a 91 on the national.
What drove you to do this so quickly? Most people take 3 months to do that.
Well, I believe in anything that I've ever done. I believe in the front end effort. I'll give you an example. I would take over an Arby's and I'd pretty much live there until it was fixed. Just making sure that everything was clean, that we had the right employees, making sure the customer service was there. And, in that business, you have to weed people out, so, and you might have somebody that's stealing. You might have somebody that you can't even trust some of the other managers to even be there by themselves. So I believe in anything. I always put the effort in on the front. So I'm hoping 2 years from now, I'm working 20 hours a week, not 50, 60.
Yeah. Well, and with that, with you starting in real estate, you get licensed. And what did you do during your first few weeks instead of just waiting around for business to come to you? What did you do to create some business in your world?
Well, first thing, I showed up at the office every day and I took all the classes and I listened. When I'm in a class or mastermind, I do my best to listen to what everybody's saying. So, there's best practices that people come in and pass. So I really listened when Danny came in and Brian Smith taught the social media class. Ryan taught the open house class. I was very intent on listening, taking notes, and going to be ready to implement that stuff right away. I think open houses are, that's something that I just did right away, like first week.
Open houses.
Yeah, just first week.
Yeah. Got you out there in the market. Mm-hmm. Well, now tell us and walk us through a little bit about how you got your first real client.
So I sent a farming letter out in my area, and I had somebody call me back from it. And this person happened to own 2 properties in Denver. And 3 minutes into the conversation, my seller was like, "Joe, I like you. You sound like a go-getter. I actually have 2 houses in Denver." And I was like, "What?" So I spent the week doing my presentation, made a really professional listing presentation, presented it to him virtually, and because he's in out of state. He loved it, signed the paperwork that night. We got one on the market, and we're working on getting some stuff spruced up for the other one.
That's incredible, man. How did it feel did you think you'd have a client that soon after you started?
I didn't even know if I wanted one that soon. Honestly, I was so in learning mode, but the support from this office made it seem seamless. I remember Carlos Escobar was telling me, "Joe, just write the contract and then go upstairs, go to Britt, and Britt will set somebody up to actually do it with you." Ryan spent 45 minutes with me going through all my contracts. He's a whiz at it. I felt so much more confident after that meeting. And just the support in this office it's unreal. I don't understand how anybody that comes here or visits this office chooses somewhere else.
We have such a legacy of agents that have been in the business for decades in our leadership team, from Brian Smith here he's been in it for, I think, almost 3 decades now. We have Ryan that's been in it for 2 decades, Britt that's 2 decades in. So many of us here have just loads of experience, and I'm a little biased, but I completely agree. It's hard for me to ever look at any other brokerage in a light above what I feel for here. And so glad to hear that you're feeling the same way. But let's get back to a little bit more about you, Joe, and specifically the activities that you've been doing that have created the most momentum for you. What would you say has created the most momentum for you?
Open houses. Absolutely. I think being present, especially if it's your own listing, I feel being present and getting to know the neighbors and getting to actually go to businesses and talk to managers of restaurants or...
Well, tell us a little bit more about your open house promotion side of things. How do you like to get out there and promote your open houses?
So I decide on Monday which property I'm going to do. Then immediately, once I do that, I send everything into Jen in marketing and make sure that that's in. And I'm not going to not like her scrounging around on a Friday. And then I plan on door knocking 150 to 200 doors. And I do it every time. And I would say I get anywhere, I think my average is about 15 people coming into my open houses.
Wow. And you mentioned businesses. How do businesses tie into your open house promotions?
Well, the employees might know somebody that wants to buy a house. A lot of these people are local to that area. And I just think having the traffic in there is a good thing, even if somebody just wants to see it. And really, for me, I have some leads from some of the people who own some of the businesses.
Really?
Yes.
What an untapped resource for agents to think about in their open house strategy. I think businesses are often missed, or the most they'll do is put a flyer up on the coffee shop board near there. But it sounds like you're doing a little bit more than just dropping a flyer off. Is that right?
Yeah, just trying to get to know people. I think the biggest mistake we make is talking to somebody then not getting that person's information.
The capture is so important. I remember teaching in Breakthrough and seeing your eyes start to understand the connection between the database and what we call lead generation, and that capture process of understanding how to get that information in. I remember your eyes. I could see the things clicking in your head when I was teaching that part of the first day of Breakthrough. But now, Joe, I want to flip it over a little bit. And we've talked about your successes and we've seen the quick success from you, but tell us a little bit more about what's been harder than it looks on the outside.
I would say when I get home at night, I'm still trying to do real estate stuff. I maintain my house. I take care of the puppies. I take care of my son. I make sure everything, I still do all the food prep. I still do all the shopping. I still do all the things I was doing before. And some nights I'll just sit down and I'll wake up on the couch in the morning because I'm done.
Yeah. not even just labor wise, this job will exhaust you, especially with the amount of time and effort you've been putting in up front, the front loading that you mentioned. It sounds like it's still happening a little bit of setting yourself up for success. And so it's something that we all have to figure out, is that balance, or what we talked about this morning, the counterbalance of life and our business, and being able to commit what we need to in both of those places so that we don't end up only in one. And we can't just end up in our business, because what are we doing this for if the only thing we do is work, right? We're out here. Most people in this office are not doing it for the money, but for what money can do for their families, for their friends, for themselves. And it's really easy to get stuck in these places where you're just working and working and working. And I want to hear about a mistake, maybe a rejection or some uncomfortable moment that taught you something recently. Tell us a little bit about something that was hard, but you were able to find some learning or a lesson in that difficulty.
So I did my farming letter, and I got a lady on the phone, and she said she was like, she was interested in talking to me, and I went to the duplex. It was getting renovated, and so a lot of times we're looking for maybe something to go to an investor, but this was renovated. So I called her, and I was like, hey, I really think we should probably go on market with this. And she turned around and said, oh, I already have a realtor for that. And I was like, wow, I didn't ask that question.
So what was the lesson? Tell us specifically, what was the lesson that you learned?
Get more information for people when you're on the phone with them.
Yeah. Ask good questions.
Yes.
Right. So much of this business is just the ability to ask good questions so we can align value to the person in front of us. Because sometimes we make assumptions and then they end up biting us like it did in that case.
We just want to go in for it and like, I'm gung-ho, but got to just take a step back.
Yeah. Well, now, Joe, you mentioned a little bit about the support from the leadership team in the office and some of the training that we offer. How has coaching and training and accountability with the people in the office, how has that helped you move even faster?
Well, it's helped me move faster because I don't fear doing anything, because I know that when I get to that step, that somebody's going to be here to help me. Like the day with the contracts, where Carlos was like, Joe, just do the contract. Go get Britt set me up with Ryan. That's one example that sticks in my head, because we just have to do stuff. We just have to do the open houses. Go get your signs. If you're a new agent, get open house signs yesterday. And just make sure that you're just doing stuff. That a real estate, having those conversations, not feeling, even like Sean Ewers was saying yesterday, ask everybody, what are your real estate goals? It doesn't hurt. Some people fear, oh, my family's not going to want to do business with me. But in reality, I have some family they've all lived in the same house for 40 years. They're not, literally, that house is getting passed on. They're not going to do real estate business with me, but maybe they will refer me out to, giving me a referral. So sometimes you think, oh, that person's not going to do something with me. But, I think that people, it's a limiting belief. Like we talked about that. We tell ourselves we can't do something.
Yeah. And you mentioned fear. Fear is one of the number one things I hear from new agents that holds them back from doing some of these activities. And so what helped you get past that fear of the beginning newness of being an agent and just deciding, go do the activities? What got you past the fear?
It's people telling me to just do it. Honestly,
yeah.
With the contracts, I still fear the contracts, and you should. We don't want to, that's why we have a broker hotline. We don't want to mess things up where it's too late.
Right. So much easier to get ahead of an issue instead of trying to solve a problem.
You said Oscar Ibarra helped somebody make sure a deal didn't fall through.
Yeah.
And that's where the support of Keller Williams is so important. I know some people say, oh, they talk about the cap or this, that, and the other. I don't even care what that number is, to be honest. I know people that work for EXP, they have no support.
Oh, yeah. Well, nothing against EXP out there. It's right for a lot of people out there. But that's a great time to ask you this question. If there is a newly licensed agent out there listening to this or watching us on the cast that has no clients, no momentum, what should they do tomorrow morning? Well,
if they have, I would still load your phone, your contacts into Command. Use Command. If you're not using Command, what are you doing?
Yeah.
like, honestly, because that's where you're going to be loading all your new people in. And if you just don't know anybody, you're new to town, go to events. Go to network. That's what I've been doing. I've been going to network events. Every time I go to an event, I get anywhere from 3 to 15 business cards from people, or just phone tap, and then I put them in my command. I already have 100 people in my command just from local people, and I started with like 3.
When you're meeting those people at events and networking with them, you get their information or their card in, you put them into the database. What's your next step after that in terms of communications to them?
Well, I just have a normal, the DTD2. We have a process to contact these people, but if I feel like they're actually serious, I'll create a task, and I will contact them once a week if I need to. Sometimes we'll go have coffee. I'll invite them to other events. So kind of trying to create some, like a networking group. That's actually one of my plans, is to start a networking group with one person from each career. My insurance guy invited me to coffee. We went to coffee. We became friends immediately. For my broker open house, he bought a potential buyer. Wow. with him.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, okay.
These are the stories that remind me as a coach and a leader to keep an open mind. Sometimes we push off those experiences with other vendors in the industry, because as a new agent, as you've seen, you get pretty bombarded with people trying to connect with you and take you to lunch. And it's sometimes we don't think they're going to help us at all. So we assume we shouldn't take this meeting. It's a waste of our time. And I really love that you kept your mind open. You built a relationship with somebody, and immediately that relationship ends up paying out in a way that I think surprised all of us to see the buyer at the open house and get that connection so quickly. And it's such a great way that I've seen you, Joe, find other angles on top of the things we teach to add on to your process. And a lot of it comes right back to you not having the fear to stop you from trying new things as well, because the best practices will get you far. But those unique practices that you're starting to find that are just for you are really, I think, what you're making this magic happen on top of the best practices from what you know best as well. And so keep it up, man.
I would also say on top of that, talk to vendors. Talk to vendors. If you see a landscaper on the street near your house, talk to them. Because you never know. I talked to a guy, I thought he was a landscaper. He was a general contractor. Talked to him for like 10 minutes. I was so impressed by the xeriscaping he did. He's like, go talk to the owner of that house. The guy's an investor. And I spoke to the owner, and he potentially wants to do some business with me. And then I called that same guy to go to one of my listings and to give me a quote. And while I was there, a roofing and solar guy showed up, and I had a great conversation with that guy. And he turned around. I called him when I got home, and he basically said, I don't have a realtor I deal with here. I have them all in the Springs. So there's another person that, if I didn't just put myself out there, you would never get the business.
Right. Because the connection was made, but the business is what we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And you're absolutely right. If we don't ask the questions, if we don't go and do the activities and keep an open mind, we're going to miss out on business. And business we assumed we were going to miss out on anyway. But boy, do we love the good surprises of a buyer showing up to your broker open with an insurance agent. What a great surprise.
Absolutely.
Now, one more question for some of the newer agents out there that might be listening. What do you know now that you wish someone would have told you on your first day?
I wish somebody would have told me how stressful it could be, because I put all my effort in, and you have to take time for yourself. And I think you did touch on that some, but there's nights I go home and I'm done, I'm drained, and I have to just take that time. On Sunday night, I went to a networking event, but it was in a park, and honestly, it was so relaxing. It didn't feel like networking at all. I just enjoyed myself. I just talked to people. And sometimes it's not the right place to try to get business.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just not. Just be nice to people.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to let the seeds be planted and cultivated, even in the social aspect of things, not the business side, but we need to earn people's trust and relationships through communications and following up with them. I love what you kind of slipped in earlier, is that when you get a lot of these people's information, you call them that night, you call them that day a lot of the times to connect with them. I've seen you call our vendors that sponsor some of our meetings, and you call them that day and start building those relationships and allow that to grow naturally, right? And sometimes they're a fit with you and sometimes they're not. And you do a great job of always being open to them being a good fit for you before you know better.
Yeah, I call every single vendor that comes and sponsors a lunch within 24 hours.
Wow. Yeah. And it seems to be serving you really well because the vendors respond to you in ways that I don't see them responding to other agents that are waiting longer or just not doing it at all.
Absolutely. Why would we think that we're not going to be able to work with somebody? Where if you put out the right energy, somebody's going to work with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not, and I get it. There's some lenders out there that they'll say, "Oh, if I have somebody that sends me 25 people a year, I'm never going to send you somebody," and that's fine. I respect that.
Yeah,
totally.
And that's a great conversation to get out of the way right at the beginning, right? Because we're looking for mutual relationships as well. That if we send them business, that we hope to get business back.
Absolutely. That's how Brandon Beston built his business through the Rainbow Network.
Yeah.
The Rainbow Network is incredible, and I mean, people send him people because that's the energy he puts out, and I'm sure he sends them people as well.
And you mentioned the Rainbow Network. Here at Keller Williams, we have a lot of affinity groups because Keller Williams is a really large brokerage, 200,000 plus agents across the world. And we know that community is a big part of working in this business. And Rainbow Network is one. We have other affinity networks and commercial
KW
and
land and commercial.
land, military, lots of these. But getting back to the Rainbow Network, tell us a little bit about what the Rainbow Network has meant to you as an agent now that you've been engaging with them a little bit over the last couple of months.
Well, I think it's nice to be able to have a community that meets every week and they do masterminds on it. Yesterday, Lauren Lucas was on, which was great. Gary Keller sent us a message, did an interview and sent us a beautiful message a couple weeks ago. And just to think of that's the culture of Keller Williams it's remarkable. And that's why I don't like the office setting, just being around people. It's just amazing. But with the Rainbow Network, next week we're going to summer camp before mega camp, and I'm going to get to meet these people in person. So what I do every time I see any referral group, and I've joined several of them. That's a good thing for people to do, is join referral groups on Facebook. And anytime I just send people right away. I'll tag a Rainbow Network person. So.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad that you found that community so quickly. I feel like it's a big part of your momentum and confidence as well as being in that group and seeing all of these people that are very similar to you doing the similar things and finding business, winning in these different spaces together. And that community is, that Rainbow community, Rainbow Network community is so strong in both the community itself, but also the business. So many of the Rainbow Network folks are moving people from state to state. And in Colorado here, we know that we're a big target state for a lot of people in that community because we have a lot of protections for those communities. And you will do really well being able to show your value in that community and connect with people just like that. And I love it. I love seeing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now let's look a little bit forward. What's the next goal, Joe? What are you working towards now that you're in real estate? You've got a couple of clients under your belt. Tell us what are you working towards in the big picture?
So my biggest thing is I want to create like a community in my direct area. They call it farming. I want to be door knocking, doing events, doing how the Deming Group that give backpacks at schools. I want to own that area.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to really make it like a true community, not just people that live near each other.
Do you want to keep that area a secret, or do you want to tell us where you're gonna be the unofficial mayor?
I'm not gonna let anybody else in there. No. If I see another for sale sign, I'll be mad.
No.
It's funny though. I do notice it's right outside my house, but what I've noticed is there's no realtor in that area that really has a lot of signs out, and you see, the pricing of the houses isn't right, and you're seeing a lot of expired listings because of that. Because if we don't price houses right, they're not moving in this market. It's a shifting market.
Yeah, and it's a big hurdle for a lot of agents to sell homes. We're listing a lot of homes, but we're not selling nearly as much because of this price situation. It's tough. It's tough in a market when it does shift, and it's different across the whole metro area to different parts of Colorado. It's something that we all have to keep up on and stay sharp. This is one of the places that and bulletproofing the transaction that we also know is a place that is really tough. And when you think about bulletproofing a transaction, what's that mean to you?
Well, I think it's just making sure you do everything correctly, pricing the house right, making sure that the house is in good condition. I have no problem being overly blunt with my sellers. I actually told my seller, if we don't do this landscaping, I won't take the listing.
I love it.
He was like, you get the green light, making sure that you're doing open houses and make sure you're doing the activities behind it. And if you're trying to farm that area, I don't know why people don't do their own open houses, because I don't want other people on my turf.
So you get it, Joe.
Yeah.
You get I think there's sometimes a little laziness in agents that don't want to go do the door knocking and do all the things. They want the leads, but they don't want to do the work.
Well, and I think for me, it's easy because I'm just nice to people. I go to the grocery store. I greet the cashier. She calls me young man. I call her young lady. I'm always like that with people, so I don't have to adjust anything that I do. I just have to bring up real estate.
Yeah,
that's all.
That's your only job. Bring up real estate and be yourself.
Absolutely.
Love it. All right, we're going to wrap up here with a couple of rapid fire questions. So with this or that, and you just got to pick one. Okay. We're going to go through these quick. Okay. All righty. So first, open houses or database calls?
Open houses.
Open houses. Scripts or natural conversations?
Scripts.
Best habit you have developed?
DTD2.
Oh, I love that. Hardest part of being new?
People looking at you as you're new.
One thing new agents should stop worrying about?
Rejection.
Rejection. Oh, what a good place to end that, because boy, I don't think I've ever seen you be afraid of getting rejected by anybody or anything, Joe.
It doesn't matter. You put yourself out there to the world, and you're for some people. You're not for other people. I know that.
Right on. Well, Joe, thank you so much for spending a little time with me. My name is Steven. I'm the assistant team leader here at Keller Williams Downtown. Joe is one of our agents in the foundational coaching program, and he has shared so much great stuff with us today. And I just want to say thank you, Joe, for being a part of this world. It's a pleasure, truly, truly a pleasure to get to work with you and be your coach, man. So thank you for coming in today, and thank you for being with us here at Keller Williams Downtown.
Thank you.